Hello, I'm Bob Beal from Senior Center Television, and I'm here to interview John Ranard about the groups that he plays music for here at the Senior Center. And John Ranard?
Hello.
So, tell me about some of the groups that you play with here at the Senior Center.
Well, I primarily work with Lyrics Alive, which is a sing-along group that meets on Monday afternoons. And I also work with Senior Standing Room Only, which is a Reader's Theater focused group, but we do some music in the different programs that we do. Mm-hmm. And then currently I am accompanying for the Voices of Experience, which is a mixed voice choir of about 20 to 30 people that meets 2 times a week here at the center.
And it's the experience, meaning that they're mostly seniors?
Yeah, they're all of senior citizen age, and quite a wide variety of backgrounds and talents and abilities. So,
and what does Lyrics Alive do? What do they do there?
It's a sing-along, and it's open to anybody that wants to come. And we encourage people from all over the community, not just those currently active in the center, to come. And we sing out of the Rise Up Singing songbooks, which are based on the philosophy of Pete Seeger. But it's a very fun group of people, and we just sing for the love of singing, and there's no musical ability level required. It's just come and sing.
It's not a performance group, and it's just a fun group?
Right, it's not a performance group specifically, and it's just every Monday afternoon, and it's usually an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on some days, and we just go through those song requests, and we do the best we can, and we hope it's fun. And sometimes we do seasonal songs when appropriate, and other times we do songs out of the books. Sometimes people will bring songs of their own that they really like, and as long as that maybe aren't in the books, mm-hmm. and as long as they bring lyrics for everybody, or some sort of music or chords for the musicians, then hopefully we can make that go. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we really don't know the song that somebody requests, and so what I try to do then is, before the next time, research it and find mm-hmm. out what it is, and we do our best to at least give it a shot.
And the Voices of Experience, then that's more of a performance group, or they rehearse songs and sing them in
right.
performance?
It's more of a for choral singers. So there's actual printed music that is in voice parts, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, for them to sing, and there's quite a wide variety of music in that program. Mm-hmm. And so the rehearsals are obviously focused on learning notes, learning the rhythms, learning the style, doing all sorts of things. And then at some point it's divided into semesters. So first semester is sort of like a regular public school or a university. So there's maybe August through December, and then January through May. And so with each semester then, there's a goal of a certain number of songs.
And then they do a performance?
Yeah, there's at least one concert. And during the first semester, you have the Christmas holiday at the end, so there are opportunities for other outreach performances to other facilities in the area.
So they play other places other than the Senior Center?
Right, okay. And they still do their concert at the center. And they have also, collaborated, I think, with other groups from the center at different times. Mm-hmm. But it's a great, wonderful group of people, again, with lots of different ability levels and experience. But they're all there because they love music and they love to sing. And hopefully they get a lot out of what they do. Mm-hmm. That group is a group in which there is a fee to participate for the singers. And it's a very nominal fee, but still it's important, and it helps that program maintain.
Sure. So what about the Senior Standing Room Only? What is that?
Well, it's a wonderful group of people who sometimes do reenactments or recreations of actual old radio scripts, anywhere from The Lone Ranger to Bob Hope to Lucy and Desi to different things. And then sometimes it's specialized programs with a theme. So maybe it's a program all about the armed forces, or maybe it's a program all about the season of love for Valentine's Day. So there's sometimes a very scripted, previously performed skit or a bit from a radio show, or sometimes it's things that are put together, facts, little quips or little skits, things about a specific subject. And sometimes in the middle, if songs are appropriate, we throw some songs in that go right with what's being done.
So it's not all songs?
No. For the radio shows that I have been a part of, it's very fun because sometimes we can find the actual recording of the real broadcast from 1945 or 46, and you hear the original commercial jingles that were used. So sometimes we're able to recreate those, and it's very fun. Or sometimes we find advertising jingles that we know were popular during that time,
so
and we
everybody
sort
will
of
recognize.
insert them. And but yeah, it's a very interesting thing, and there's I would say 2 to 3, maybe more performances a year, and they're very fun, and there's something for everybody. And so sometimes music is a huge part of it, other times it isn't. So it just depends.
Is there any other groups or any other activities that you play for?
You know,
dancing or something?
Yeah, I've done some other things here at the center. The International Day of Dance, which I've done now a couple of years in a row, and that's just bringing dance ensembles and groups from around the community and here at the center together to celebrate that day. And so I might play for the tap group, or I might play for an interpretive dance or something. And then there are some other things that I have done sort of as asked and as needed. I just played for an art installation opening last Friday night downstairs in the assembly room, which was really nice, and it was just background music. So it's nice to have all the different variety of things to do. And
how did you discover the center?
well, funny that you should ask. My friend Bob, was when I saw you downtown in a store, and you were tap dancing in the back of the store practicing your tap routine, and one thing led to another, and I said, oh, if you have a program or if you ever need anybody to play for your class or something, and you said, oh, do you play? And I said, well, I have. And then you said, well, I'm in SSRO, Senior Standing Room Only, and I'm doing sound effects, so do you want to come with me? We need a sound effects guy. And I thought, well, sure, I'll see if I can help for that performance or something.
And I remember that first one, and I shut the gun right in your ear.
Right, exactly. But anyway, so, and I certainly was aware of the center, but I hadn't lived in Iowa City very long, so I hadn't had a chance to really learn much about it. So from that sprang all these other things just sort of accidentally. So I would say that because of you, I'm here. So
well, we're glad to have you here. Anyway. So if you have, I mean, you play for all these different groups, and I'm sure they're all a little bit different. Are any one of them a favorite, or they're all equal? Or
do you know what? There's something great to be found in every group, and they're all centered around the idea of music at some point, some more concentrated than others. But there's something wonderful about the people in the groups. And there's a crossover too in a lot of the groups here at the center, because people tend to be involved in more than one thing. So some of the people that come to the sing-along are also involved in the Voices of Experience Choir, who are also involved in Senior Standing Room Only, who are also involved in the dance groups. So sometimes there's a crossover, so some of the same people sort of
drift from here to there.
Through. But it's all, you know, each group has its own wonderful thing that keeps people coming back.
Were you ever involved in just, say, classical competition or anything like that? Or was it always more of a show type?
You know, my personal musical experience is pretty varied. I just was really lucky to be able to have some wonderful opportunities and learn a lot with everyone. And, you know, I certainly took classical piano when I was young, but then when I went to college, I knew I wanted to be a music teacher, and so I became a voice major, and which I had played most of my life, and I had sung a little bit, but I auditioned to be a voice major and was accepted, and so then that opened up a whole new door, which was great. And so I got to do a lot of wonderful choral music things and solo things, and be in some groups that taught me a lot about programming of music, about musical styles, about, most importantly, working together and life skills. And that was one of the things that music continues to teach you no matter what age you are. And so out of that, you know, I was never, when I took piano lessons when I was growing up, never was a competitive thing. It was always just learning how to do things. But I was so lucky to grow up in a musical household where I heard so many things repeatedly of all different styles that...
Did it come natural to you? Or, I mean, or some people really have to work hard at being a musician, but I've heard you play here and it just seems like you could do anything. Did that come natural to you, or did you really, really have to work?
No, I think a lot of it must be some natural ability, but a lot of it is, I think I just really liked it. And I think whenever we like something, especially if we have even the smallest amount of ability, then we're motivated to learn. But I was just lucky. I had 3 older sisters, and the oldest one was 5 years older than I. And so I heard her piano lessons and her practicing from a very small age. So by the time I got to take my first piano lesson, I already knew all the songs in my head. I just had to connect the dots. So once I learned the notes, then it made it seem like I was really excellent. But what really happened was I had already learned everything by ear, so once I did it right one time, then I was done. And then moving on. So I think I was sort of given a gift in that way. But you know, you talk about make it look so easy, and I think that it's nice of you to say that. And the counterpoint to that is, but I can't operate a hammer. So you know, don't ask me to do don't ask me to operate a saw or do anything with a mechanical with a car. So the trade-offs are huge. But no, it's just been a big part of my life, and I've been really lucky. So if
would you encourage anyone who has any inclination to sing or play music, would you encourage them to at least try it? To, you know, like, oh, I want to take piano lessons. Would you say, well, do you have any, or would you just say, go ahead and try it? Or?
Do you know, I would say if it's something that's interesting to you and you really want to do it, especially if you have the time and the energy to commit to it, I would say do it. And I would say...
Just sing or dance?
Do that. And I think that we all have so many talents that we probably aren't even aware of. And we probably also have a lot of interests that we aren't aware of. You know, sometimes the great line is, I've always found that my interests have followed my opportunities. So I had an opportunity to do something I had never done before, and so I did it and found out, well, I really like this. The other thing is, too, you know, as you say, we all have our strengths, but you're never too old to learn, and you're never too old to enjoy art or music, or in whatever form that is, whether it's theater or poetry or any of those things. I mean, dance. I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people allow some of their talents to come out once they've retired, once they feel like they have time to really pursue them more. And I know many people who wasn't until they retired that they picked up a paintbrush or a sketch pen, and now they're doing things all over the place. Or wasn't until they retired that they really felt like they had the time to give to music. Well, now they're in a choir and they love it. Or dancing. People that, you know, didn't really have time or necessarily maybe just didn't have the focus that they needed to do it, but now they are into it. So I would encourage people to do whatever they'd like to do. And the other thing is, if you do it and it's not working for you, for whatever reason, don't feel bad. It's okay. So.
Do you play any other instrument beside the piano?
Do you know, I one time played the guitar, and I don't anymore. Or I haven't for a very long time. You know, piano was sort of the thing. I always wanted to be a great drummer, but that never came to pass. So
so you stick with the piano.
So I stick with the piano, you know, and And I am certainly not the best piano or keyboard player around, but I've been really lucky to have some great experiences which have taught me a lot in many different styles of music. And I still learn. And I'm just as happy behind the scenes, not being seen but being heard, as I am to be in front of everything.
I know that your piano playing is really appreciated by an awful lot of people. So I think that if you were to expand, they'd love it. But that's up to you. That's up to you. You know, it's you're doing what, 3 or 4 different groups now already. So what will you be doing for the day of the dance? Do you know yet?
All I know is that I have been or am potentially going to be asked to accompany for a dance duet or a dance group or something like that. And I'm happy to do whatever.
And you don't know the music yet or anything?
Not for sure. So we'll just figure it out when the time comes, or a little bit before.
Hopefully a little.
Maybe a little bit before.
A little bit behind.
But it's nice to do that. We'll be doing a program in the first week of April that's sort of focused around and centered upon the official opening of baseball season. So there would be different groups. So there'll be a poetry group, there'll be some dance groups, there'll be potentially some people from SSRO, a couple people participating in things that focus on the art of baseball.
Baseball.
Which I think is really a fascinating thing, so it should be very fun. There's a lot of variety.
Yes, that's the poetry tap dance or the whatever.
Yeah.
Because that was a big success last year. Did you play for that?
I did not.
No, did not.
No. So that'll be fun to do. And
Yeah.
what's interesting is that whenever you have a chance to either go see and support other groups here at the center that do different things, or whether you are invited to be a part of something that gets you into contact with other people, that's a great thing too, because the senior center, as I've discovered, there's a lot of communities within the senior center. So with all these different groups, even though you might have some connection with members from one to the next, they all have a different focus, they all do different things, and the classes that are offered here are pretty amazing in the different variety of things that you can do.
Have you, since you've started playing for these different groups, have you actively gone out and tried to get people into the groups, or do you just kind of let them?
You know what, I certainly, I have in some ways, and I think one of the ways, and I think you're very good at this, but I think a lot of people are here at the center, you're just telling people about what you do in your life, and you say, you know, I'm in this thing, if you're interested in finding out more about it, come on this day. I think word of mouth is really important.
Yeah, that's one way of getting people in there, just or invite them to the performance. And see what we do, or see what you do.
And you know, we have some people that have come, maybe they've come to the sing-along once, and for whatever reason they weren't able to come back, but now they're back. Or they came for a while, and you know, that particular group has our sort of our mainstay core that come every week. But you know, some weeks we can have as many as almost 30 people. And then other weeks, you know, rarely, but sometimes, you know, it depends on the weather, it depends on a lot of things, maybe we'll have 10 or 12. So it just sort of depends. The Voices of Experience obviously really does rely on regular attendance much more because of the nature of what it is. And the Senior Standing Room Only, which is SSRO, obviously relies on attendance because it's everything is assigned and it's very scripted. And, but the size of that group varies a little too. And I think that's the good thing too, is that even if people want to come and try something, if they do really enjoy it, they're not bound by law to do every session. I mean, you have choice to, I mean, once this session's over, certainly we want you to come back without a doubt, but if you want to take a break, that's fine.
So you're not committed. Once you say you're in it, you can't leave. So
you're not bound by law. You're certainly encouraged and welcomed.
Because sometimes you need the people. Yeah.
And people may hang on tightly as
Right.
you're leaving the room, but you're not, you're not required to continue to participate. And I think that's one of the things that makes at least these groups that we're talking about, I think, very, very open and welcoming to people. And there's flexibility too.
Sure.
Life happens, things happen, and sometimes you have a change of plans. And so,
What do you, if you were sitting around at home listening to music, what do you like to listen to? Pop music, classical, anything, or a variety, or?
this is going to be a really boring answer, but a little bit of everything.
Oh.
And a lot of it depends on the day.
On the mood.
Right. And sometimes if we have people over for dinner or something, as you know, we just mix and match all sorts of styles of things. And it can be vocal music, it can be instrumental, it can be classical, it can be pop, it can be country, it just depends on what the deal is. Very often in the car, I always am loaded up with CDs and ready to go. But I often find myself after a while, depending on how long the journey is, I just drive in silence.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes the silence can also almost be more musical than the music.
And sometimes you just need the silence.
You just need sort of the silence, and I still have music going through my head, but it's kind of my own.
I mean, it's the wind and going through the car and things
Absolutely.
like that.
So it just depends,
And sometimes if you have CDs, you can go through the whole stack of them, and you don't want to hear them again.
Right.
So
No, so it just depends on what's happening.
So what would be your push buttons on your radio in your car? Classical?
Oh dear. No, I certainly am a fan of good, what people term as classical music. Oh, there's a lot of different time frames within what we call classical music. There's the Romantic era, there's the Baroque, whatever. So I certainly, when it really has grabbed me, it has grabbed me for sure, and I sort of gravitate to that. But I listen to the comedy channels a lot, which is no music at all. So it's just little clips of stand-up bits from different comedians.
Really?
It's great, and I can go back and forth between those 5 or 6 channels for hours because they're always changing the bit.
If you would think of some kind of different group that could be started at the senior center than what we already have, those 3 or 4 that you mentioned, is there any kind of musical or singing group or dance troupe that you think might be able to be, started at the senior center, and not necessarily actually do it, but theoretically?
I think the possibilities are truly endless, which might seem like a non-answer to your question, but I think there are a lot of different things that might be very successful here. And you might have a literature group, you might have maybe you have a barbershop quartet group that's just that. Maybe you have a gospel group that's just
a gospel group would be
Christian gospel music, but you also have so many other faith-based organizations that are represented in the center too. So certainly could be of other faiths.
There is a barbershop group in town, but not based at the senior center.
The other thing is you could just do, it certainly could do a musical theater group here at the center. But the beautiful part about what I have seen of the other groups that are already established is that there's a little bit of that in every group. So I think you can certainly start one of those things, but which I think could be a great success. But I also think how nice that you already have some opportunities. Yeah, I think this center, and again, I'm certainly not an authority on the world of senior centers or senior organizations, but this one to me seems to have such an enormous variety of things that you can participate in, classes you can take, things you can learn, outreach programs you can be involved in. I mean, you are very involved in Senior Center TV, and think of all the things you're learning there. It's very fun for you, and it's sort of motivating to learn those things. And there's art classes that are here, there's art appreciation, there's classes that are based upon history of religion, there's classes based on all sorts of things that I think it's pretty amazing to me.
about When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, page 82 in blue?
We can do it. We'll do it. 82 blue. We had a good warm-up on this earlier, so
Oh, you already did this?
but it'll be perfect now. Yeah, really. That was way better than the first time.
We do good with practice.
That's right, I know, a little practice really hooks you back up. Barbara, what you got?
Have you done Danny Boy?
We have not.
What page is that on?